Yeah, watching footy fantasy. It is sure say the thing will reach your football me.
So what's up?
Banter
You guys
from
hear me?
rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. It's footy fantasy. Yeah, watching footy fantasy. Footy fantasy. It is sure say the thing go meet your football me. Your football me. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. Sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. Your eyes go see. It's footy fantasy. Footy fantasy.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of God? Some of these men are moving like children of the devil. Welcome to yet another episode of the Footy Fantasy Podcast. If anybody distracts me, brother, if anybody interrupts me, you're gonna get a red card. Swear to God, bro, you're gonna get a red card. Who's this guy? Whose phone is that?
Why are we hearing echoes?
I don't know what's going on. It's Black Ten Hag over here moving crazy like he doesn't know how to work a phone, bro. What the hell's wrong with you?
He's
Anyway. Yeah, I have all the Arsenal mandem here in the chat. All the Arsenal mandem here live as well. Before we start, everybody hit the like button, bro. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can hear when we whatever fuck go live. One more thing. Ayo, you're a fucking dickhead, bro. Ayo, you are a pagan. Ayo, you are a criminal, bro. Of all days, of all Sundays. Sundays are supposed to be the day of the Lord, brother. Today is the day of the devil. And I am here. I have to take it. But it's okay. It's okay. I've been running up my mouth all season. I've been running up my mouth all these years. So I'm here to take it. It is what it is. EJ, welcome. Ray, welcome. Steven, welcome. I think Toby's supposed to be here. Welcome whenever you make it into the studio. But Toby, welcome. I think he's in London. I think he's celebrating with the Mandem out there in London. Let's go straight to it.
What's
up? Yeah.
Oh, EJ, don't talk. Because I told you to host the show today. You said no. So
you have to do your job. Do your job.
I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job by moving on to the next topic. The first topic.
I'm seeing the rant, but I can't hear it.
The first topic is, when did Arsenal fans really believe this title was theirs? Steven, I want you to get us started, bro. When did you start believing in Arteta? Moving on to EJ. EJ, when did you start believing?
First of all, Stephen, do you hear?
I can't hear Olga.
Okay.
Why can't you hear me, bro?
I hear everybody else but him.
Oh, piss off.
So he's been ranting for the last 2 minutes, and I'm just watching the hands wave.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me let you go off and come back because just to try something. And then there are two profiles for you here. So
yeah, there's it's. How about this? How about we?
So I'll keep myself
can you
out,
hear
sorry.
me now, Steven? Can you hear me now? Maybe he has two things popping up. Maybe we need to add both of them. Okay, all right. I'm unkick him from the studio. Okay, Toby, I think you're in London. Tell us how you feel, bro. Go ahead, Toby. What's up?
I can't hear you on the comments.
AJ, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
I can hear you.
Ray, can you hear me? I don't know what's going on with y'all. Yeah, everybody can hear me.
I can hear everybody, but
damn, bro.
I think Toby.
He can't hear the haters. That's why he can't hear the haters. That's why.
Honestly, I don't know what happened. Sorry, say it again.
I think Toby is being crazy.
I can't hear you, bro. It just started. Let me get out and come back in.
Okay, all right. This is a mess. Ray, how about you? Ray, go ahead. I
think we're all just drunk at the celebration. That's why we ain't ready for this. Okay. So what was the question again? Sorry, what was the question?
When did you really believe this was your season, if you ever did?
When did I believe this was our season? Okay. Can you hear me? Are we good? Okay. I think this season, what we did in the summer break after last season, the way we were moving with the sign-ins, it was, and then all the sign-ins, but also the narrative around the sign-ins with Eze, with the whole, like, I just had a feeling like this year was going to be our year because, when over the years when teams have won, there's always a beautiful narrative, and I just felt like the scripts of the football gods were written for Arsenal to win this season. So I would tell you at the beginning of the season, or what we did in the summer, is when I believed this was going to be our year. Now, I didn't believe it was going to be easy and all that. That's not what I'm saying. But I just had a feeling that we were going to win this year. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I hear it.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the summer window was really what did it for you, even before the season started, essentially when you started to believe.
Yeah. And the sign-ins, like, again, as Arsenal fans over the years, we're always like, oh, there's that one position, even though it might seem like an additional player that we don't need, just get him. And then, they were checking the boxes. Okay, we get Norgard. And then Hincapié was like, no Arsenal fan knew we were going to sign Hincapié, but it was like a great bonus where you're like, okay, that position, he was like third, fourth left back, center back option. But over a course of a full season, you might need a position like that. So it wasn't necessarily like the player himself, but I think it was just that there was a feeling of that extra thing that we need just in case. And I think for me, the Eze signing wasn't saying Eze was going to win us the league, but just everything around it, his coming back home, and like the difference maker of a player that Eze was going to be. I just had a feeling like this is the year. And I think the club as well, it's almost like they went all out as much as they could last season to make sure this was the season. So that was when, like, deep down, I knew this was going to be the season.
I hear that. EJ, I want you to jump in here because Ray I think he makes a good point, but I noticed he did not mention the Gyökeres signing. So to you now, like, is that because a lot of Arsenal fans, I believe you, including you, EJ, but I may be mistaken, a lot of you guys did put a lot of faith in the Gyökeres signing. That was supposed to be the guy that would bag the goals. Like, were you on that? And now that the season is over, how do you feel about what Ray said, including Gyökeres in that package?
I mean, so to begin with, I didn't think we would win the league at the beginning of the season. I just thought we had a good chance to compete again. I thought Liverpool would win, and then 5 games in, I saw the way Liverpool was playing. I didn't think they would win anymore because they were like struggling to get those victories that they got. They won their first 5 games, and then we started coming up. And then towards the middle of the season, I figured, okay, yeah, we have a good chance to do this. But I would say with Gyökeres, I didn't think Gyökeres was the guy to lead the front line. Like, I didn't think he was our savior in terms of being a striker. I wanted a different kind of striker, like an Isak type of striker. That's kind of who I thought would work for us. But obviously, Isak wasn't even in the play for us. So it was easy to just forget about Isak early because, again, we bought Gyökeres before Isak even told me that he wanted to leave. So Gyökeres wasn't my savior per se, but I think ultimately he's done what he needed to do in his first season, right? 21 goals and all of that. For me, I didn't think we would win for sure until, and I have a WhatsApp message in one of my Arsenal groups, April 21st, and I sent it to them. I was like, yeah, this is the first time I believe that we'll win this league. And I thought City would drop points between Bournemouth, Everton, and Brentford. I was like, they're not going to win those 3 games. They're going to drop points in those games. And that's kind of what happened. And I knew we would take it from there.
Yeah. Steven, can you hear me? Or
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. I want you to come in here. Pile on to what EJ said and what Ray said, and also how you feel after 22 years.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that has been around, I've been telling the guys again from the 22 years of suffering that this has been. I think start of the season, I was really confident because of how we went around about our business. Ray touched on it, and this is very much a team. This is not about individuals. Like, Arsenal was very focused on the team, the structure, what the structure needed. They weren't looking at names, which I think is why they went the Gyökeres route when there were more expensive strikers that they could have potentially gone for. not the perfect player, but they wanted players and positions covered versus big names per se. So that was kind of phase one of me being confident. And then I think as the season came, the first big moment was Newcastle away. So when we came from behind and went to Newcastle and won, because that's a place that we just don't historically do well at. And the way that we played that game, we went behind, had to come back, and the bench was what won us the game as well.
Yeah.
I was really confident after that moment. And then obviously the season had its ups and downs because we were dealing with so many injuries, which no one across the whole season, I think, acknowledged at all because of how consistent we were. But we dealt with a lot of injuries this season as well. And I think that was hurting us when City were closing or catching up or coming back, or we were dropping points because we had so many injuries. And then again, the biggest when I was like, okay, this is done, was obviously West Ham. So it's like if I go step by step, it was start of the season super confident because of how we did our business. Middle of the season, early in the season, Newcastle away, that result was like, okay, because I can see how we're gonna play. And then again, the confidence of okay, this is done was West Ham. And I was telling everyone, Ray will tell you, I was in the group chat telling these guys, Everton away, Bournemouth away, those two games, this Man City is not Man City of old, and I didn't think they were gonna get maximum points. And they dropped points in both.
Even today, they drop points like pussy holes.
Again, because they're on holiday, they got nothing to play
It
for.
was over.
Yeah, they have nothing to play. Toby, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Take it away, bro. You're in London. How does it feel?
You not gone back home.
I'm going back tomorrow morning. It feels good. Watched the game at a pub. Went out with a couple of friends. Tried to get to the Emirates. We're like a block away. The cops are out. They block the streets. So, they don't want another 100,000 Arsenal fans turn up at the Emirates. That's okay. We'll show up in about a week. But to answer your question, I think at the beginning of the season, I was confident that we had the squad to compete, like EJ said. The question at the back of my mind was whether we would have injuries to keep people at the wrong times. And then the schedule gave us our hardest game up front. I think it started with United away.
Yeah.
And then we had Liverpool at home. We lost that game to a set piece. People seem to forget. Super-sized set piece. And then we played when we had City at home. But anyway, when you looked at the schedule, I figured, look, if we're in touching distance of Liverpool, because I thought Liverpool would be the team to beat, by December, I felt our squad, we could do it. Now, once Liverpool fell off, I was a lot more confident that Arsenal will win the league, unless we got injuries. And by February, I already bought my ticket. I was like, I'm in London. I think we're going to win it. If we don't win it, I'll still be in London. Maybe chancing Ateta. But if we win it, I'll be in London. And that was it. And so early on, I was really like, I'm here. And I bought my last ticket to the last home game. And I'm like, I'm going to be there. Now, you asked the question about Gyökeres. I think Gyökeres did very well for his first season. He was never the striker. He was never an Isak. He was never a drop-in. He's an excellent shooter of the ball. And it took Arsenal a while to figure out how to start playing down the channels. We only started doing it differently. But he's a different kind of striker. And we can't make him what he's not, because then we get the best out of him. And so I think I'm more than happy with Gyökeres. I mean, if they told you, hey, this guy will score 20 goals in all competitions his first season, that's a lot more than all the other strikers that were signed this summer.
That's correct. Yeah.
Better numbers than Isak, better numbers than, any top signing, better numbers than Ritz, better number than Sesko, better numbers than by Walter Mayday.
Maybe
every forward that came
the only
in.
one that kind of like got more than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, I don't think Joe Alfredo got more than him. Last I checked.
Oh, they didn't even,
maybe in the league. Well, I need to double check. In the league, they may be close, but overall, I think Joe Alfredo doesn't have 21 goals. Last I checked. But the point I'm making is he was who he was. I think a lot of Arsenal fans might have made him to who they wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And, Arsenal has shown, honestly, this season, the stats will tell you Arsenal should not win the league, because teams that win the league, their top players have a breakout season. Either Salah scores 20-some goals, De Bruyne has all these assists. Pick any team that's won the league last 5 years. Alan scores 40-something goals. Their main men show up. And this is our season where all our main men, attacking-wise, were either injured or unavailable. Saka was injured most of the season. Havertz injured. Gyökeres just came in. He did okay, but he didn't, you know, he wasn't your main man.
Yeah.
So Odegaard, injuries, never really got going to the end, and so it was a team effort. And I think that's why, I think we just leaned into our defensive solidity and said, look, we're not going to score a ton of goals. We're going to have to win a bunch of these goals 1-0. And we showed that the system works. So yeah, I'm excited.
Let me take
And
some
I'll say,
comments. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Toby. Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt you.
I was going to say, and with Pep leaving, I think Arsenal will be favorites for next season. That's not to say they'll win it next season, but I think they may start the season as favorites, just
Yeah.
given the status of other club. That's it.
I'm going to take some quick comments. I want to spend more time talking about Arsenal. There are a lot of topics to cover, but I will skip those topics just because I think I think you guys deserve, to marinate in this. But yeah, Henry, obviously you're here. Thanks for joining. Ayo sent out the invite. Wasn't me. What a befitting host. Of course, it's a befitting host. You want more win? I think we're going to talk about that. Ayo goes, congratulations to Arsenal, most boring winners of all time. Of course, it's joking, well deserved. The only rule is make sure you enjoy it a lot. Facts. Enjoy this. I don't need to tell you guys. G Black Michael goes, congratulations to all Arsenal fans. And Kaiser says, EJ, I told you guys were winning. I told you that you guys were winning by February. Henry, I want to come to you. I think now, since you guys won the league was it on Tuesday or Wednesday? I've actually been marinating in sadness and also reflection, right? But it's provoked a lot of questions, such as our fans and all these people that comment on football, pundits, whoever you may be in this football world. Are we all just fake false prophets, right? Are we all just armchair judges? Because this may be proof, this may be evidence that, brother, you just stick by your manager. Arteta has caught a lot of stick, right? Hey, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I know you guys. I know a lot of y'all. Arteta has caught a lot of stick, and even me, I've given my managers a lot of stick for their efforts not yielding fruits soon enough. And Arteta was building a very solid defensive team. Yes, there's some good attackers in there. Berchieze, Saka, Gyökeres had his goals, but that team, that defensive spine has been solid, right? Is this proof that us fans just need to shut the fuck up and let him cook?
Hallelujah, everybody.
Praise God.
Okay. Let me start off by saying, you have a very valid point, right? Especially with fans, pundits. Even me, myself, I'm not even going to lie. I, myself, was one of the fans at some point that castigated Arteta. But I think the only one thing he had going for him was he was coming second. He was the next best thing. So the question for us now at that point was, if we really let this guy go, who are we really going to get? Who was out there that we were going to get? So in my own opinion, he was the club on its own was still doing well from a profit standpoint with him. So that was a solid base for the club. And then on top of that, they just bought into him, right? It's one thing when the owners buy into the philosophy of a coach early, that even when some of us doubt us, because again, I was at some point, I'm like, I don't know about this Arteta guy, right? But ultimately, he gets his flowers from me personally. And there are a bunch of reasons, because at the beginning of the season, I remember when we did that episode, EJ was the host that day. And the question was, what are your expectations for this year? I said 2 cups, 1 major, 1 minor. Everybody laughed at me, thought I was crazy. They say, oh, what do you mean 1 major, 1 minor? I said 1 major. 1 major is at least the league or the Champions League. And minor is, one of those, local cups, FA Cup, Carling Cup, one of those. But as we have it now, one hand on one already. If I'm not even celebrating yet, I'm happy. As much as I'm happy for this, I think Ateta would go down, or this team will go down in history if they can do the unbelievable and win the Champions League. I know nobody's even probably giving us props that we might win that league, but for some funny reason, I actually think they can win it. I don't know why, but I think they can. And it also goes back to one thing I predicted. And I don't know, you can go back, EJ, you probably have records of all these things. I said at the beginning of the season, although I didn't like the idea, I said it was important for Arsenal to learn how to win ugly. I can guarantee you, we are now the masters of winning ugly.
Absolutely.
Even we, the fans, don't love it, but it's yielding dividends, right? And
Yeah.
it started off for probably this started off from probably 2-3 seasons ago when the profile of the players they were bringing in transfer windows changed. We started seeing Arteta deviate or pivot to buying players that were useful in at least 2 to 3 different roles. Like literally, they'll have their natural preferred position, but every now and then there's another 1 or 2 roles that they can slot in comfortably. So at any point, everybody forgets. Everybody is screaming Tottenham had 37 injuries. Do you know how many injuries Arsenal had this season?
35,
32.
32.
Not different, but see the trajectory for Spurs versus Arsenal, like how he was able to manage it. That's not luck, that's hard work, that's preparation. He changed the profile of the team again to the detriment of what we the fans are used to seeing with Arsenal. We're used to seeing Arsenal play beautiful football. Now we rely on set pieces, right? We rely on our defensive stability, and that's where we build off of. So on that front alone, and hopefully with the ability that now, we've seen that the defense is something he can build on top. They can then move ahead, and then adapt in between during games, and buy the necessary players. We'll probably Arsenal is probably three, four more players from being a problem for a lot of teams in Europe and locally. The same way Man U gets 5 players, they can solve their, in
Please
certain
become in the
positions.
play. This
No,
I'm going
no,
to step
hold on. No,
in.
now hold on.
He's not
Hold
trolling
on.
up.
Let me talk now.
Not
Let
yet.
me talk. I'm just saying
I
there's
hate
some key teams right now that they're not far off. So there's gonna be a lot of chefs next season. It's
you. Yeah.
gonna be a cook fest. The main reason for Pep leaving, no, you can't predict how next season is gonna go. But once again, congratulations to all we Arsenal fans. It's
Yeah.
been years coming. The last
Yeah.
time Arsenal won, I was I didn't want to tell you, so I'll hide my age. But hey, we've come a long way, and we're gonna
All
savor
of us,
this.
you're an uncle. You're an uncle. Uncle. Toby's got to go very soon. So I'm going to let Toby chime in here. Toby, yeah, I'm not sure where you were. Are you there, Toby? Looks like man's frozen.
He's frozen.
Okay. Steven, I want you to hop in there because if I remember correctly, you've been one of those Ateta defenders. And I mean, where most of the fans wrong this whole time. Like people have
Yeah.
just shut the hell up.
No, again, it's like in business and in life, right? Like I don't know if any of you have seen like the interviews with Arteta in the last couple of days when he's been talking about just the strength it takes to come second 3 years in a row and to come back. So the thing for me that I always said to everybody, there's context when you're in business or you're in life, and if you're making progress, that you get benefit of the doubt. Like it's not the same. And again, I'm going to use Man United because it's you. If I'm getting beaten every week by Brentford and Burnley and whoever else, and I can see what's happening in front of me, and the team isn't making progress, I would say Arteta out. But that was never the case for
Yeah,
Arsenal. Like the first 2 years, he inherited a squad that required a ton of fixing,
yeah,
right? Bad personalities, the culture of the club, the disconnect between the fans and the players. Like everybody's around the world looking at the celebrations from Arsenal fans and how great it is outside the stadium. There were times where you couldn't even go to Arsenal as an Arsenal fan and have an opinion about one manager or a player,
yeah,
right? So he came in and he changed all of those things. Yes, we weren't getting over the line and it's been difficult, but you're competing with one of the greatest managers of all time. So if he wasn't competing, I would have a different point of view, and I probably would have had a different point of view. And like again, I think I was on that pod with EJ and the team earlier in the season, and I said the same thing. He had to challenge for something or get very close to winning something this season because he would have been under so much pressure at the end of this season if he didn't win something because of the near misses, that it was just imperative that he got something over the line. And I'm just happy for him and I'm happy for the players. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on that was said earlier was about a top team having top players have breakout seasons. Arsenal have had breakout seasons, but the people that have had the breakout seasons is the goalkeeper, the two centre backs, and their Christ. The team is built on that. Like you tell me 4 or 5 better players in those positions in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that's why Arsenal are the best defense in Europe. It's not the best
Yeah.
defense in the Premier League. They're
Yeah.
playing in the Champions League. They've gotten to the final. They've conceded 6 goals all season. So that defense is what's world class about this team. People don't like it because it's not pretty to watch, but that's where the world class part of this Arsenal team is. God forbid he put some stardust up front. And the other piece as well that people have to remember is a lot of the injuries that we've had have been in those midfield and attacking positions. So he hasn't been able to play Eze and Odegaard. He hasn't been able to play Saka, Eze, and Odegaard. I think I saw a stupid stat where those three have played together 6 times all season. So again, the attack is coming. And if he goes and he gets better quality players on that left-hand side and he moves on a striker and brings someone else in, yeah, we can go again.
Yeah. Ray, is this a classic case of like a crock pot, right? It's one thing to cook in a crock pot, it's something else to cook in like, some regular frying pan, right? When you take a really, really long time to let it cook slowly, right? Arteta has cooked that defense to a point where, brother, your defense is, Steven is right, it's the best in Europe. Like, it's the best in, if Arsenal hypothetically competed in the World Cup, like, you guys would win it because you have the best defense, right? But is it now like one of those things where, okay, you've built the most difficult part, you have your solid goalkeeper, defense, spine, and now the rest of it is just get this goal scorer here, get this creative player there. It's not, scoring goals, people say it's the most difficult part of football. Yes, it is. However, building a solid defense and a solid spine is very, very difficult. So essentially, my question is it like smooth sailing from here on out for Arteta?
Good question. I'll go back to one of the points I made earlier. I think with Arteta and Arsenal, and I'm going to answer a bit of your first question you asked about fans and pundits, because I don't think we talked about pundits enough. So I'm going to mesh those two things.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 camps of people. There's fans, Arsenal fans, or rival fans. We're emotional. I get it. So sometimes when Arsenal rival fans, it's banter. Okay, it's cool. But what's been kind of funnily disappointing is all disappointing or funny in this case because we've won, so I could care less, is all the pundits who they've played the game of football. And if you are objective and just watching Arsenal, again, like Steven said, there's no guarantee you're going to win, but you can see the pieces that are being put together. You can see Arsenal's strength is like suffocating teams to make it difficult for them to play. And then you get the pundits are like, oh, boring Arsenal. But like, it's so lazy. It was doing my head in, because it's like, it's the silliest thing I've ever heard, especially from people who have played. Again, fans, I can understand, you want to knock Arsenal or whatever, but like, it's not easy to dominate the game and suffocate teams, because the amount of effort that it takes for the team to work as a cohesive. So to kind of bleed into your point here is like the defense, top 2 center backs in the world, but it's not just about the defense. It's a collective, like, we are not going to get beaten today. We're not going to get scored against. And that goes through the whole team. So you have to build off that first. And then, again, another interview that Teta had was like, he realized, look, we don't have the same resources in attack like City, what he was talking about. So you have to play to your strength. And that's the key thing here. So again, the whole corner thing, of course, now we've taken it as a joke because now we just have to respond. But it is not easy to stop teams from get involved, we dominate, get corner kicks, and then you score the corner kicks, and then I get relegated to corner FC, which is fine. Rival fans, I get it. The only pundit I would say out of the non-Arsenal pundits, Wayne Rooney was one of the ones that was actually consistently, like, I was paying attention. Like, he's like, hey, they're building something here. Everyone else is running their mouth about the usual lazy talking points, but Wayne Rooney was kind of like, hey, they're doing something. So I'm going to give a shout out to Wayne Rooney on that. Now, to answer your question, it's again, so that mentality of like, we're not going to get beaten, so you still have to work hard off the ball. Even Luis Enrique, I think he said Arsenal is one of the hardest teams off the ball to play against. Again, these are the top people in the game. So now when you add, you have to add two things. Obviously, the quality up top, which is, basically that way when you get one chance, one goal kind of people, right? So that would make a huge difference, because then we can be able to like relax a little bit more and open up teams. But also it's the type of player, like the mentality of the player, that I don't want any player that's like, oh yeah, just because it's like, if Arsenal calls you picking up the phone, you want to come play. That is the kind of signing I want. And that's, again, kind of tying back to the Gyökeres thing. It wasn't the best striker available technically, but the one thing I liked about the signing, and that, again, talking about reading in the stars, is like, do you know, if you guys remember how much stuff this guy moved to play for Arsenal in the summer? He was like, I don't care, I'm going to Arsenal, you guys figure it out. That mentality, as well as the quality, is, I think, is what is. So it's not just the quality, because you can get quality players who want to be just about them. Those are the two profiles or sort of attributes I've been looking for to add in. So again, I would say, just to add answer your question, more legs in the midfield. We need that, because summer World Cup, that's going to be a different conversation after World Cup. And then creativity, and then quality in the left, and then striker. So those are the three immediate for me. So just to summarize and answer here.
Yeah. Toby, can you hear us? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. EJ, I'm gonna come to you next, but I think Toby, after this, I'm gonna go to him. Toby, talk to us about the Youth Champions League final. Who's winning that one for you? Well, of course, you think it's awesome.
I think Arsenal will win the Champions League final. I'm not trying to be consistent either. I think PSG. I don't think PSG has faced a team like Arsenal before. And I think Arsenal has faced teams like PSG, maybe not as fluid, but has faced teams with a lot of quick attackers before. And I think PSG find that game a lot harder. I literally think the game we played against West Ham will be harder than playing PSG, because it'll be a very, very different type of challenge. I don't know why people think Arsenal can get past PSG. If you look at the Arsenal team that played this same PSG last season, go look at that back four and compare it to the back four we have today. I think we had Kiwior, we had Miles, we had, and then we had a lot of attackers out for that second leg. We had Partey suspended for the first leg. And we didn't have Saka. Havertz was injured. We had a false nine playing. We didn't have any options from the bench. Arteta has shown that this season he's got the most positions. He's got the most points from his substitutes. And that goes to the squad depth. And yes, we won't have Julian Timber. That's a huge miss. But they won't have Hakimi up, apparently. So that's a huge miss for them as well. And I think if Arsenal goes there, I think our game model will start for PSG. Obviously, Luis Enrique is a great coach. So I expect him to tweak something and have plan A, B, C, D. So I think it'll be an interesting game. I'm not dissing PSG by saying I think Arsenal will win. I'm just saying I'm confident in my team that we can win. And it's very, very difficult for a team to retain the Champions League twice. I think Madrid have done it once. I don't think if anyone else has done it before other than Madrid. But yeah, so no, I think I'm confident going into this game. The Champions League finals we've gotten into when you've been the clear underdog and you're like, dude, I don't know how we're going to do this. This is going to be tough. We're going to need everyone to play at 100%. But I think our squad health is decent. Saka is in decent fitness. Back four seems fine. And so, I mean, it's a final. It will be edgy. And both teams are great. PSG is the better attacking team for sure. But I think Arsenal is the better defensive team and the better running team in midfield. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let me take comments real quick. Kaiser goes, maybe Man United should have stuck with Amorim for 6 years. Thunder fire you. Higher goals. Arsenal organization deserves a lot of credit for all the changes they made in recruitment, analytics, etc. Ayo again. PSG is beating Arsenal. Arsenal's midfield will struggle against PSG's midfield. Arsenal's right back will struggle against Kvaratskhelia. EJ, I'm gonna come to you. Well, on this Champions League final thing, I was talking to, obviously off camera, talking to my brother, and I was like, I am actually afraid of Arsenal in the Champions League final. Well, this Arsenal, mostly because Arteta has managed to build like a tank of a midfield and of a defense, right? And if you can only make that final a war of attrition, Arsenal is going to win. If it becomes a war of attrition, Arteta is winning that thing. What do you say? What's your position on that?
Okay, I'm going to say this real quick. Let me go back to Ayo's comment. Sorry, I also have the reins on this. PSG's beating Arsenal. Arsenal's midfield will struggle. Let me just
That's some
tell you
BS,
guys,
by the way. That's
this season,
some BS because we already saw that.
hold on, Toby. This season, every prediction Ayo has put out against Arsenal has come to fail. Before I came on this podcast, I wasn't sure. Now I know for sure PSG is losing to Arsenal. And I'll tell you why. I like something that what's his name, Declan Rice said today. There's so many interviews flying around, right? So I'm watching them as often as I can. Declan Rice said something when he was with Saka at a Sky interview, I believe. And he said that like all the games, the fans don't see the games the same way the players see it, because Arteta tells them something different in the dressing room. They go on the field, they analyze games differently. We're seeing Arsenal playing defensively, not scoring a lot of goals. They're seeing that we're controlling the game completely. Like the dominance they're like through the roof, we're dominating this game. Yeah. So I think Arsenal's dominance will show in the game against PSG. Again, Toby's right. PSG hasn't really faced us this year. We faced Bayern. Bayern know what they saw when they faced us. They know what they saw. And they know what they said when they played us. They said, we'll see you in the finals. They're not there now, but that's what they thought. They thought they would see us again. And then they played PSG and let PSG give them 5 goals. We don't know what that means. PSG is not scoring 5 goals. They may not score 2. They may not score 1. That's the problem here. So I think we have a good chance. And Arteta said something in one of his interviews, one of his early interviews today or over the week. He said,
"Did we lose Egypt?"
The what?
No, go ahead. I thought we lost you for a second. Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
okay, our parade is on the 31st. It's next week, Sunday. He said he wants to celebrate 2 trophies. I've never seen him be that bold. I'm just saying, like, the stars may be aligning for something special to happen. So,
all right, let's move on. Why
are you rushing this conversation?
He was making a point now.
Why are you rushing conversation? Don't move on. Stay on it.
Whoa, hasn't finished.
Henry hasn't talked.
Let her cook. Damn.
Before I release my time, I want to say something about this hammering comment.
I swear, EJ, I will remove you from this shit.
Hold on. It's in your favor. Because Oga Kwame is very, Kwame doesn't send. He doesn't care if it's his team or not. If the coach is crap, he's going to call the coach out.
Yes.
I'm just saying that they could not have stuck with Amorim for 6 years, right? Like Arteta was, and Stephen mentioned it, Arteta was a different, but he was showing progress. And if
there was improvement. There was incremental progress with Arteta.
Clearly, and there were reasons for us not winning those leagues, like 2022, 2023, immaturity, 23-24, injuries. 22-24 wasn't injury. It was more like one game. It was one game. And
inexperience.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, you're right. 24-25 was injuries. And then this year we closed it out. But most of us have always said, let Arteta stay in. Let's give him time. Especially that period where we're 8-8-5, and then we jumped to second. That 8-8-5 was where it was tricky for him. I think after that, it was not really tricky. If he had finished second again this year, we may have had a different discussion, let's be fair, because he was leading the league for a long time. But then even the discussion would have been like, what happened? We have still had to put things in context. We have to give Arteta his flowers. There are many fans in this country, in the world, that kept saying things like, Arteta is not the guy. I'm in a group. Arteta is not the guy to take you there. You will never see the promised land. Blah, 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 blah. Where are those people now? Where are they now?
I will say this. I will say that personally, as a hater of you guys, I think one of the best things your team did was it 2 years ago or last season where Arteta was, I guess, the calls were like very, very heavy for him to leave. And the club were like, yeah, we're sticking by him. I think of course, in hindsight, I think that's the best thing you guys did. Ray and Steven, starting with Steven, I want you to, that Champions League final, my thing is, if PSG's attack, like, catches a mild cold on Saturday, they're done. Arsenal's going to win it. Like, if their attack does not fire on 100, if it goes down to like 80, it's over for them.
I don't even think it's that.
No?
I think people underestimate it's Arsenal's ability to handle their attack. Like, their attack is world class. Our defense is world class. So it's who comes out on top in that battle. And I think the other thing that people aren't paying attention to is when we played PSG last year, we gave them really good games over 2 legs. Partey was out. We had no striker. We had all sorts of things going on in those 2 games. And the games are really close. They didn't batter us last season when they got to the final either. So for me, it's going to come down to how brave Arteta is. Because for me, in that game, I want to see Eze, I want to see Odegaard, I want to see Saka, and I want to see Gyökeres. Let the attack be the attack. I want to see my guys on the field. I don't want us messing around. I know Trossard is a game changer and he comes up with big moments. Let him do it off the bench. In this one, when they've got Zaire Emery playing at right back or whatever, I want Eze and Odegaard because I think they're going to try and control the midfield. I think physically, Miles and Rice will handle them better than we had last season. And then I think we need the attack. Like when we get in positions to go at them, we need the quality of Odegaard, Eze, and Saka. And I don't think we've been able to do that a lot. And the best example of that was that Fulham game, where for that 45 minutes, and I know Trossard was in there as well, but I think Eze can do the same thing from the left side. I think if we just have our defensive be solid and be able to handle their attackers, when we get the chances to go forward, we can't be stumbling over the ball and half chance it. Like if he goes brave and he trusts his attack and he trusts his defense, I think we beat them.
Yeah. Ray, I want you to be the last voice on this before we move on to the next topic. What are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think Steven,
Henry, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you saw me nodding agreeing with Steven. I couldn't agree more. I think, again, this is another one of those things where maybe it's because of my team and I've been watching this thing for so long. The narrative is just too lazy from the pundits. So again, PSG's attack, that Bayern Munich game, this is the greatest game of football. I was watching that and I was like, there's no way I would be happy if either of those are my teams, especially what we've seen so far. You're not going to see Arsenal just be so exposed at the back to allow a team like PSG. Because again, back to my point, playing to our strengths is what we're going to do. So, but that being said, exactly what Steven said there, we have to offer something as well different. And I think, again, this season, to me, the turning point, I didn't touch on this earlier, the second or third turning point was that Fulham game, was starting Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield. Because then all of a sudden, it wasn't just about controlling the game, it was also like offering something and driving the ball in the midfield at the same time. So that lineup, exactly that, I would say in Capier in the back, just on the left side, just the back of Eze. I don't want Calafiori and Eze because you're asking for trouble there. I think that, and then Mascara is actually going to handle it very well. He's a very tidy player. Again, everyone's thinking, Mascara is going to be the weakness in the back, but again, maybe because people don't watch Arsenal. But I'm telling you, so it is going to be close though. I think it's. Oh, sorry, I was talking. Yeah.
No. I was gonna say to your point. It's like people don't identify the strengths of these players. Like Hincapié and Mosquera are 2 of the best 1v1 defenders you're gonna get.
100%.
And you're asking them to mark people who are gonna run at the ball game. Happy days.
Yeah.
Them two.
Hincapié is a tank.
Them two will love that shit. Long as they don't get booked early.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be just to wrap up because I can rant forever, as you know. It's gonna be a close game, but again, it's just I think that quality when the moment comes. So I'm backing Arsenal to win, just as long as we don't, try to get too defensive, try to put Zubimendi in the midfield, none of that. Which I don't see Arteta doing, because a lot of times, again, when he was doing that in the season, it was because we had 3 days later we had to go play another game, so he had to manage in a sense. So last game of the season, go all out, show us what you got. Let's show you what we got. I'm backing my team. It's not going to be a. I'm backing my team with a low score, but we're going to provide something. And yeah, I'm backing my team. So yeah.
Henry, yeah, reasonable man. Please bring reason to this conversation.
No. It's not about being reasonable. I think I already mentioned this earlier. It depends on what Arsenal shows up, right? The game is going to be 50-50. It's going to be very cagey. It's going to be very tactical. It's going to go down to who makes those in-game changes. It's going to be like a lot of counters, like because I could see Arsenal soaking up the pressure, hitting the burners on a counter, and they too doing the same thing to us, right? It's going to be a lot of that. The game to me is 50-50. I think a lot of people think it's like a 70-30 PSG. No, it's not. It doesn't happen like that, though. It's not going to happen like that, right? The only place I see us having a problem is still that right back. Obviously, a lot of people believe in Mosquera. Mosquera to me is an excellent defender, but he still, in my own opinion, struggles a bit on that right just because of pace. If he was a pacey defender, that it would be a natural, right? But he's not. He doesn't have pace. But he'll make up for it in like probably just picking the times he decides to overlap. So it's going to be a very cagey game, right? And I can't even call it, but I just have a feeling just because we've gone ahead to win the league, it's a different swag now. It's like the mentality. I could even see the mentality has changed now. Like even in their approach, it just gives them a little bit of a different confidence. And I hope they can go ahead and do it because if they win the Champions League, man, even that Invisibles, man, we go gas recalibrate that. Is this really one of the best team ever? Because nobody has no Arsenal team. We've never won the Champions League before, right? So it's gonna be a big thing. I'm looking forward to it. I've not celebrated this our victory yet. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna celebrate everything in one once if we can pull this off, that's when I'm gonna celebrate.
All right. I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip the topic about going shopping at the relegated teams. Maybe we can save that for another pod. Pep is leaving. Toby, are you with us? Can you?
I can
Okay,
hear
so
you. Can you hear me?
all right, there you go. Pep is leaving. I want you to talk about what this means for the league, especially what it means for Arsenal. Because you guys are like what the crown prince right now. Pep is gone, and now it's looking like the next. I mean, you guys will have the league is yours to lose for the next 2 years at least, 2-3 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. Pep is, I think, I argue people is the best coach currently. Some people say it's because he has money, but I think those two things, that's an unfair way to judge him. He's reinvented multiple teams. He's changed so many players' profiles than what we consider left back and is better left back. He won the league without a striker once. So this man will go down in history as one of the greatest coaches ever. And then you can even look at his legacy, all the managers that have come under him and how well they're doing. That's not a fluke either. So I think he's leaving, but I think the context in which he's leaving is important. There's lots of rumors that we'll get a verdict on City first week of June, before the World Cup. And
You
so
mean the
I
charges?
think
You mean like the 115
about
charges?
the 115 charges.
Oh, okay.
So if we do get a verdict sometime in the summer, and it's obviously knew what was going on, I think if we get a verdict, then City's clearly out of the title race because they're going to be docked some amount of points. And in a transitional year, I don't know what that means. They may not even make Europe. So I think I would say Pep leaving in context of the 115. If that does happen, they're not a contender. So you're going to look at teams who maybe had a blip this season. I think I'll put Liverpool as a team that underachieved this season. Hopefully for them, they underachieved. If they're really that problematic, then it's going to be a long rebuild for them.
I think it's
Obviously,
more than an
United has had.
underachievement. I think Slot is shit.
Yeah, but it's not just Slot. I think they replaced two fullbacks with small players. That doesn't work in the EPL. And I think Slot is proud this Dutch coaches always have some amount of ego that you can't correct.
Brother, I had a
I think
bald
Slot is
Dutch
proud.
coach. I know what they're
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
I think it's proud. And I mean, Kerkez, I'm sorry. Like, look at the profile of left back, right backs. We're talking Calafiori and Capi. Look at Cities. I mean, you're not going to win area balls with small inside wing backs in the EPL. It's not going to happen. And so I think United has a shot if they invest well. I will say that you could look at if United backs Carrick, and by backing him, I mean saying you're going to keep him for some years and see progress and let him learn on the job. Then we'll say maybe United has learned their lesson. But knowing United, I think Carrick will be fired in another year and a half. So it's just the nature of your club. So we'll see. But I think Arsenal has a good chance. Pep leaving, they'll get suspended. They'll get dock points. Chelsea's in the mud. United has a chance. Liverpool will rebuild. And we'll see what happens.
All right. EJ, talk to me. Pep is leaving. League is yours.
Yeah. You said the league is ours?
Yes.
Okay.
Next year and the one after that.
I mean, I think we have a good chance, right? We've been waiting for Pep to go for it the last 3 years. I'm surprised he stayed for 10 years. So he should have gone after year 4. Like he did in other leagues. Like, I don't know what was the attraction.
That Man City money sweet.
And they said they're paying him for the last year, 20 million just for not playing.
Imagine.
For not coaching.
I go sit down.
Yeah. So his legacy is, I mean, it's there. I know there are shouts that he's better than Sir Alex, which is interesting because
that we fire all of them. Nobody's better than Sir Alex.
He coached for half the amount of time, right? And then he won half the amount of leagues. I don't know if they're extrapolating. It's an interesting discussion.
26 years versus 10.
Okay, it's not 20 years. He was there for 26 years. Okay. So yeah. So it's not the same. So it's just like people with recency bias. We understand that. But yeah, we can't hide that he's like one of the coaches. You know how like different people come and the league evolves. Yeah. So you had your Sir Alex, you had Wenger, and then I would say he's the next Mourinho maybe before him, because they have different styles of being able to win and sustain those victories. So not those coaches that come 1 year, win one league and disappear. He wasn't like that at all. So you give him his credit. I do think the Man City charges will hang over his head for however long it takes for them to resolve that. And I don't know if he's, like Toby said, I don't know if he's jumping ship because of it. I don't know. It's hard to say. He did have one more year to go. So why did he leave now? Anyway, I'm happy Arteta got this victory while he was in the league. It's one way to, like, if he just kept losing to him and then he won the league next year when he was gone, there would have been that kind of narrative about Arteta. So I'm happy he was able to pull this off. And that does mean we are the favorites for next season. So Slot and them. Liverpool needed to have gotten rid of Slot. Chelsea got in Xabi Alonso, but they're going to have to rebuild. I don't think it'll be immediate like he got with, Bayer Leverkusen. And then Carrick is the X factor for me. I think we'll see more with United when they play more often than what they're doing now. So until that happens, I don't know if I agree with Toby that they'll fire him immediately. I think they'll fire him if they see a clear decline, like a decline that you can't come back from. But I think they'll stick with him if he finishes top 4.
All right. Ray, talk to me. Pep is leaving. What does that mean for you?
I mean, for Arsenal specifically, I think Pep revolutionized the league in his generation, to the point we've talked about it. A lot of managers, there was assistants, and now, what they've done in the different leagues as well. But also with like Man City is, you try to, how do you beat Pep? Do you play like Pep, just better? And so teams have tried different ways. Liverpool had, that whole Klopp. That was a great battle for a couple of years there. And so I think Arsenal is a favorite just because Pep was that standard that almost like you kind of get pushed to try to do better than, and Liverpool for a while, but then transition. But Pep was always like that constant. So I would say Arsenal will be a favorite. Now it's going to be an interesting because a couple of teams, Chelsea, there could be an X factor. And again, I'm saying this because, they're not in Europe next year. They're probably going to have less games. So I can see them trying to do something like United kind of just to sneak their way in there with less games and get across. But I will think ultimately a lot of these teams are going to sort of knock each other out. So they're going, they're going to improve. I said there's going to be improvement for all the teams, but I say Arsenal's still the favorite. Again, my hope, which I believe this is the case, is that with Pep gone now, Arteta still has that sort of internal motivation to kind of go to the next level without necessarily having an obvious, target or rival like breathing down his neck that, or he's trying to get past. So I am confident that he won't necessarily need that. And you're just going to need a different kind of motivation to sort of keep going and add the right quality. So that might be my only like worry, but I in theory, but I don't have that concern with Arteta because you can see that, right? Where like, hey, the main guy you're trying to beat is gone, then you take a slack off a little. But again, I don't see Arsenal doing that. So Arsenal's a favorite. I doesn't guarantee you're gonna win the league because things could happen, red cards, injuries, things like that. But I would say at least for next year, 2 years is a little bit of a stretch because that's just I know that's where we are right now. But I can see one or two teams figuring themselves out and be back to really being competing in 2 years. Just the way leagues go, all of a sudden formations can change. There's always a new thing. Remember the Conte days, 3-5-2, it came up. So there's always going to be an evolution of the way the league's played. And it'd be interesting to see next year, does Arteta open up and get more free like that? Still dominating, but free attacking? Or do we kind of still keep what we're doing? And what do other teams do? Do they do so it's going to be an interesting season. So I'm looking forward to that. We're like, okay, Pep's been great. Now we're post-Pep league. We won within Pep's era. Now let's see what the league presents. But I'm still going to back Arsenal as the favorite for next season.
Steven, do you obviously Pep is leaving, Arteta's won the league. It appears there's a new sheriff in town. Do you think that also translates into a change of like style as a whole? Because are we graduating from the whole tiki-taka football to a more control the game in a different way sort of football by having a solid spine?
Yeah, there's two parts to the question. So the first part around the style, I still tell people the style is down to personnel. The style is not down to the fact that Arsenal want to strangle the death out of every single game that they play. Like we have had personnel issues in the top half of the pitch, and I just don't think he's had the opportunity throughout the season to put the combinations on the field the way he wanted to put them. Like MLS came late in the season. I think that could have happened earlier. I don't think Eze's played enough off the left with Odegaard because Odegaard hasn't been fit. I think our team plays very differently if we could put the right personnel on the field this season. I think the evolution is going to be Cronky's making all the noises. Sounds like we're going to go into the market again and look to improve. We're coming off of a World Cup here, which always has an impact. We've got most of our top players aren't going to have a break. They're going to go from what is a 60 plus game season where they've been carrying injuries already straight back into a new season. So we need to invest and invest wisely to keep ourselves ahead of everybody else because we
And
already
also,
are ahead based on the fact that we're
Steven,
winning.
the World Cup is longer now.
I know that's my point. So, and depending on how far our teams go,
Yeah,
like it's Rice, it's Saka, it's again, if Timber's walking, he's gonna get into the Dutch squad. So you got
Saliba.
all of these players that have been injured this season that are gonna go potentially to the US in what is a very arduous World Cup and then come
Yeah,
back and start to play again. And
yeah,
they're coming off an incredible high. So
yeah.
from a competition perspective, I think what Arsenal have to do is they do need to invest. Like I want to see, like I would not bat an eyelid if Arsenal brought in a Tonali. I wouldn't bat an eyelid if Arsenal went and got a Julian Alvarez. Because what it does to the rest of the league is it goes, oh my God, these guys are going again and they were already better than us. Like you break their spirit there versus waiting for them to come back at you based on the fact that you've ascended as it is now. The other thing that we need to pay attention to is we're entering a period where all of these big clubs are gonna go through transitions and they've got big decisions to make. So yes, Salah is going, but it's not just Salah. Salah's leaving the dressing room, Robertson's leaving the dressing room, Van Dijk look like he's playing on crutches. They need a whole new midfield. Like there's a lot of things at Liverpool that need to be fixed. Yes, they have the infrastructure and the resources to fix them, but if you bring those players in, there's no guarantee that those players hit the ground running straight away, especially because Slot is under pressure as a manager because of how the season has gone. So if they don't start well, then the fans are making noises, the tension's there. So I think Liverpool could struggle based on that. I think United are in a very similar position. It's one thing to play 40 games, it's one thing to then have Champions League and cups and blah, blah, blah. And you're also in a position where Maguire is of an age, Bruno Fernandes, amazing season, but he's of an age. And when these guys have to go every 3 days, that's a different thing versus now where you're playing 40 games.
Yeah.
So I just think every team is going to have a context. I think Arsenal are in a very good place, but for them to kind of own at least the next year or two, I think they got to be really aggressive with what they do in the summer.
Yeah. Hear that. Henry, you shook your head in disagreement when I said there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, there's no new sheriff in town just yet. But in saying that, this year gives Arsenal the foundation to build. Again, I keep saying this. This is the first time in a long time that we really saw Arsenal go full season, deploy a completely different tactics that we've never seen. Right? Some of us grumbled, some people, enjoyed it. But I think we'll see a very versatile Arsenal. If Arsenal goes shopping, if by chance the owners let Ateta and Berta cook and go shopping, that would be the first problem, right? Because again, if they build on what they already have now, Arsenal has shown different sides to them. The season prior, when we lost, when we came second, Arsenal showed they can play beautiful football. This year, we've shown we can win real ugly. We can be very defensive. We can be dogged. We can play boring. Whatever way you want to play, we're there. Low block, we'll play with you. Again, if you now start, the question now is Ateta is going to go back to the drawing board, and say, hey, what are the players that I need to strengthen this team, right? Especially with those tactics we struggled against. And that's what's going to be the key. The other thing is what you guys already said, the World Cup. It's going to be a very, I predict that it's going to be a very high injury season next season, right? Just because of the toll that the World Cup is going to take on a lot of players. Arsenal, again, slight edge because we've played with a lot of injuries. Again, I keep telling everyone thinks, okay, as much as our defense was the big thing this year, is also our versatility, and if he builds on that and strengthens in the right positions, like they said, the probably the left, get another potent striker because Jesus has probably played his last game for us. It's not coming back. Get a really if they get Alvarez, they just need one more crazy. And again, it's a type of striker that is not like Jokeres, right? Completely different style of play, and that's why Alvarez will probably actually fit the bill.
Yeah.
So that there are games where you need someone, you play towards the strength of that striker depending on the opponent you're facing. And if it's not working, you have the second half to throw the bucket, of a different style.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I feel like it's a good foundation for the future. There are teams that I actually see, like teams that don't have a lot of their players, especially their key players, like a Chelsea. Everyone says, like Chelsea, a lot of their key players might not even go. Like Palmer is not going. Some of those players will get time to rest.
And
The
no
only thing
Europe.
I remember, no Europe too for them. Yeah, so those things are gonna come in, to play a big role. Um, but last season, to me, I know EJ said Liverpool was the team to beat last season. At the beginning of this season, I said the team to beat was City, but a close Arsenal second. You can actually make that assertion that yes, Arsenal is the team to beat, but they cannot rest on their laurel. The moment they do that, we lose the plot.
Yeah.
They can't rest on the laurel because
Yeah.
everyone is gunning for us now. It's a different thing where all of us, remember, all of us were gunning for Pep. There's no Pep now. It's free for all. I don't know if you play Call of Duty. Free for all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting season next season. Probably going to be one of the most fascinating seasons we've seen in a long time, just because of the different things that come into play. But I'm looking forward to it.
We're gonna go to Heroes and Donkeys very soon. Let me just take a few comments. Aya goes, Ateta made a lot of big mistakes in his first 2 years, but he learned, and more importantly, Arsenal's squad building learns. Oh, Arsenal squad building learned. Got it. Sorry. English is not my first language, guys. Asher goes, if PSG just sits back, how does Arsenal win? Asher, two things there. They don't know how to sit back. That's not what PSG
Exactly.
does.
They
That's one.
can't.
And two, if they do that, they're cooked. They're cooked. Ayo goes, LOL, I'll remind Joe, Sam Wasquero will handle Kvaratskhelia, I promise you. Asha, Sham 1983 goes, Aston Villa won Europa League. Now it's time for Crystal Palace and Arsenal to bring the European trophies to England. Loud that, bro. Loud it. Heroes and donkeys. Let's start with donkey, because we want to end on a good note. So, who's your donkey, EJ? Actually, let's start with hero. Who's your hero? Hero of the week, of course. Yeah, I know who it is.
You know who the heroes are. The heroes,
Yeah.
The players and the coach and Arsenal Football Club FC. Look, we've been called so many names, guys. You guys know. See what Liverpool fans did to us last season. I didn't know we had beef with Liverpool fans. They called us every single thing they could call us. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yes.
Bigger fish to fry FC.
Yes.
Placeholders FC. Elephant on the table. Every single thing.
Yes.
And guess what? We're now the champions. So everybody can hold that. Hold that.
All right. We're holding it. I'm holding it monumentally. Ray, talk to me. Who's your hero?
I mean, just sound like the unbearables, Arsenal Football Club. Done. Did you hear the fans singing that today at the Crystal Palace game? We are unbearable.
We are unbearable.
We are unbearable. Yep, that's. And I don't want to. Yeah, that's it. Arsenal Football Club and unbearables. Yep, heroes for me.
Steven, I'm assuming it's the same for you.
Nah, I'll switch it up. I'll go for what it is. I think it's been a year where used to like Brighton and teams like that competing above their station, but this season I have to give credit maybe to like a Bournemouth. I mean, they sold and pretty much their entire back four.
Yes.
And one of their key players in midfield, and they still managed to finish in the top six. I think that's just the job that club does, and for them to be in Europe with their stadium, I think their stadium holds like 11,000 people or something stupid.
Oh wow!
So it's gonna be just wild to see a club like Bournemouth come up and then stay in the top six. I think that's so. I'll give them the hero.
Okay. Well, by the way, Ayo is correcting me in the chat. It's hero of the season. I mean, I think the answers have been season focused anyway. Henry, who's your hero of the season?
My hero is definitely Arsenal, the team as a whole, for staying the course. Because I will tell you, as of February, I was like panicking, because I could see, a little bit of PTSD, because we've seen this happen a few times. Like I think by like March, I was like full on. Yeah, we're probably not gonna do this. City are probably gonna go on that weird, annoying run that they go where they don't lose, because that's what we're accustomed to, right? Me, I'm someone that likes to go back and see, okay, what are the trends? We've seen City go on these crazy runs. Granted, they were not the team that they usually, are, but again, man, it's the team, because if you see, considering the gap, I think was 6-7 points at the end of today.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, 7 points. And how close we came to being like, ending probably on a goal difference or 1 point. I give the team the props, right? Despite all the obstacles. So I give us now as a team the whole prop.
All right. Villains. Let's start with. I don't know why Ayo changed these terminologies. I like donkey. I like donkey. Who's the donkey of the season? EJ, I'm gonna start with you. Who's your donkey of the season?
For me, I have 2. First is Liverpool FC and all their players, and Salah, who fell off the cliff. I know he's old, and all the players that couldn't compensate, all the millions of dollars they spent, and they finished 5th this season, tumbling down the table every week. Win 1, lose 1.
Talk about the elephant falling from the tree.
Exactly. They're the true elephant falling from the tree. And that's what they get for thinking that, the league is a breeze. I saw slot. So what's that word when you're just so prideful? Last season, as if you could just come to the league and just win it, which is what he did. Yeah, smug is the word. I feel like he figured out the league in 1 season, therefore I'm the king. Nah. So now you have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out again. That's Liverpool. Now, City. My favorite thing about this season, when you look at the traditional top 6, the other 5 teams, we beat Spurs home and away. I mean, that was Spurs. Spurs or Spurs. United beat us 1 time. We beat United once. Liverpool beat us once, drew the other game. City beat us once, drew the other game. Chelsea, we beat them once, and then we drew. Either way, we didn't dominate the top 6 like we usually did, like in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And I remember distinctly in 23-24 when we were like 17-1-1 on the run, the second half of the season. Bernard, no, it's not Bernard, it was Rodri. Rodri comes at the mic, he's like, they didn't play us to win. They came and drew the game, blah, 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 blah. If Arsenal wanted to win the league, they should have beaten us. They should have come out to play. We lost the game to them, closed the gap for them. And still, when the time came, they were drawing to Everton, drawing to Bournemouth, losing to Villa. And you want to win the league. But get out of here. Champions. Them two are the donkeys of the season.
All right. Wow. She cooked. Ray, who's your villain? By the way, Ayob made it clear in the chat. It says donkey has a racial term to it, which is why I changed it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll stick with villain. Who's your villain of the season?
Okay, villain. Same theme, but just okay. I gotta say Tottenham, man. I'm sorry. Tottenham.
17 twice in a row. That's crazy.
I was like, because I was reading the stat before today's game. Didn't they only won 2 games at home before today's game?
Because today made 3.
Dude, that's right. Are you serious? Like, yeah. So I would say, obviously it sounds like an obvious thing, but really though, you can't have such a terrible record at home. And again, they've skated by 2 years in a row. So for me, Tottenham is the donkey of the season, like because it's been the whole season. Yes, they've had injuries, but man, and then obviously all these Tottenham haters are running their mouth as well. I'll throw them into the collection of everything related to Tottenham. Yeah, so donkey of the season is Tottenham.
Hear it.
Sorry, villain of the season. My bad.
Villain, yeah. Aya says his hero is Bruno Fernandes. I hear that. Steven, who's your villain of the season?
I'm just gonna. We got to share the love. So I think if we've covered Spurs and we've covered Liverpool, I'll hit the other one, Chelsea. I think started the season with all this champions of the world nonsense, and then you end up not getting into Europe the season after.
That's crazy.
It's just beautiful. It's like chef's kiss. You're champions of the world and you can't get back into European competition in the league, and it's Sunderland, Bournemouth, and Brighton that are the teams that are above you to get into the Europa League and the Conference League. You couldn't even do the Conference League just to keep it a buck. So
mad.
I think Chelsea, for all the chat and all of the heritage and the Kings of London and all this nonsense, and the fact that we're dancing in their faces as well, and they got no European football, I think you have to give it to them too.
Damn. You know what's crazy? We told the Chelsea fans though. We told them that that they were champions of nothing but the MAGA Cup. We told them it was the MAGA Cup.
Yeah.
But now, who is laughing? Right? This man who anyway, Henry, who's your villain of the season?
Yeah, so funny enough, it was Chelsea I was gonna say, but there was my last option is VAR and the referees in general. I think this season they're the villains because because of the inconsistencies in the calls. Like you can't. There's certain things that there's certain calls that were made this year or calls that were not made, that would significantly have impacted how the season ended. Right. So just for that reason alone, I'll blame them. VAR and the refs. I hope next season they can figure out a way to remain consistent. Otherwise, he makes the league. He devalues, the quality of the football we have. I hope they really sit down and make changes, even including the corner kicks that they complain about. I still don't see what's wrong with the corners we're doing, but hey, whatever rules. But they should just try next season if they can aim for to be more consistent. I think it'll help the league as a whole.
I hear that. Ayo's villain is Florentino Perez for doubling down on hiring Jose despite his role in the Vinicius situation. Very nasty work That I didn't even look at it like that. That's wow.
Well, who
Yeah.
says Vinny's going to be playing for Madrid next season?
Hey.
Just saying.
Ayo goes, I called Chelsea being overrated from the jump. Probably my greatest hot take. Yeah. You have a lot of hot takes. Ayo, that was a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, lady and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This was an Arsenal parade before the real trophy parade. All I can hope for is, my God in heaven, please do not let them win the Champions League. With that being said, EJ, always a pleasure, even though I hate your guts. Thank you for joining. Ray, always good to see you, bro. Thanks for joining. Steven, my brother.
Forgiveness.
All right, Henry, bro. Sorry we didn't extend the invite quicker, but I'm glad you were still able to join the party. Always good to see you, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and I in the chat says great episode and good sport from our. Thanks.
I know
man.
you're secretly rooting for us.
Always.
You're secretly rooting for us. Next week.
Get out of here. All right.
No,
guys.
but
See you guys
there'll
next
be okay.
All right.
You're watching Footy Fantasy. It is your steady thing, go meet your football needs. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. It's Footy Fantasy. You're watching Footy Fantasy. It is your steady thing, go meet your football need. Banter from rivalries, he sure you